All the money in the world could not save the UFC. UFC in the past few months have put on a subpar product in the octagon. All the stars they were building are crashing. The revenues are skyrocketing. The parent company just acquired WWE, making it the most valued franchise in combat sports history. But at the end of the day, what happens in the octagon is what matters.
I cannot let that drive me crazy.
And all the money in the world will not be able to save the UFC. We just witnessed the end of the line for homegrown people in the organization. Sugar Sean O'Malley, Israel Adesanya, and Leon Edwards. You have a fighter that is a pretty entertaining fighter itself, but he just sent one of the UFC's biggest investments packing onto retirement.
Nobody said anything about dogs, bro. Chill out.
I get it, Adesanya might not retire, he might come back to the octagon, but I'm concerned that he might be following the Anderson Silva path now. Then you have another champion, who honestly is not as entertaining in the octagon, but hey, at least he can promote a fight, he's a decent promo. Yet, here are Dana White's opinions.
Curious your thoughts on the main event, on his performance and Leon Edwards' performance.
Wasn't a barn burner.
And then you have a new champion that be one of the most entertaining fighters, both on the mic and in the octagon, that can't do either.
Our guys are so dumb, it's next level unbelievable.
The UFC seeing a bunch of fighters that are becoming champions that can't move the needle, or even worse, pushing the needle backwards. And yes, you can only control the matches you book, but that's where the issue lies. They have not been building any stars. They have been booking cards in the Apex because I'm assuming it's cheaper, but at the end of the day, there's no hype behind them. So when those people rise up, who are they? So where did all this start? Well, let's backtrack to the beginning of the second half of the year.
All right, guys, here I am again. Conor McGregor is out of 303 versus Michael Chandler with an injury.
Conor McGregor against Michael Chandler. Almost poetically, after years of speculation, the return of Conor McGregor was supposed to set the world on fire International Fight Week, but it all blew up weeks before the event.
The news, Conor McGregor out of UFC 303.
It is deflating, quite honestly.
Thankfully, the UFC still had a fighter that they could count on, but there wasn't really any purpose for that fight. It was a hell of a fight. Alex Pereira is a hell of a fighter. At the end of the day, he's not Conor McGregor, and nobody is. Thankfully, the event delivered, and the crisis was averted in this first scenario. The UFC should have seen it coming. Next fight, Muhammad versus Leon. One known for being a meme.
What the fuck is this?
The other one known for being a champion, and one that defeated Colby Covington. Speaking about him, Muhammad should have gone a showdown a lot earlier, but guess what? He's not promotable. And guess who is? Colby Covington. So Colby started threatening Leon with his dead parents, and that fight picked up steam. Muhammad just went into the fight. Nobody knew who he was. There's no hype behind it.
Keep that same energy as Saturday. You guys are gonna be real disappointed.
In the octagon, he delivered. Leon Edwards stunned in Edwards' backyard. And don't get me wrong, Leon Edwards is not a super exciting fighter, and he's not super excited in the mic either, but he is British, meaning that if you take the UFC to England, that will draw. And in England, he did draw, and then he lost. And don't get me wrong, Muhammad totally deserved to win the fight. He spiked Leon Edwards, controlled him. Leon had nothing. He really didn't. He dominated 5 rounds, clear decisive win for Muhammad. He totally deserves to be the champion. You have to give the man props for what he did in such an impressive manner. But then, there's the press conference. Here's what Dana had to say.
You can thank everybody on this card for that. Never again. 7 straight fucking decisions. Yeah, the 100,000 was a real big fucking woohoo. Let's get it, boys. Fuck that shit. Never again.
Dana Aspinall just beat up Curtis Blade, and that threw Dana even further down the spiral.
Michael Bisping mentioned yesterday during a Q&A panel, he said he can see Tom going on to dominate the heavyweight division for years to come and go down as the greatest MMA fighter of all time.
There's no doubt about that the guy's got the talent. But when you start talking, he won this fight tonight, he could be the greatest of all time. Again, you know how I feel about John Jones.
But, we'll get to John Jones later. But in the meantime, let's move on to Israel Adesanya. He had already lost to Strickland, but Strickland had lost the title to Duplessis, and Adesanya got an immediate rematch. Dricus is a great fighter, and the fight was going to take place in Australia. Israel Adesanya is from New Zealand. So saying it was his backyard is a stretch, but he definitely had a lot of local support. And boy did they bank on Adesanya's star power. For Israel Adesanya and Dana White, this wasn't just a fight. This was a lifeline. If Adesanya wins, a fighter with personality.
Well, I mean, did those belts ever go to Africa?
The fuck is this gonna tell me who the fuck I am?
I'm African, but I ain't no brother of yours.
Look, I'm a fucking human being. I am a man. I can cry and whoop your ass at the same time.
And one of the best ones out there is at the top of the game again. If they lose, they're further out without a champion. The only reason why Adesanya gets immediate matches is because he's promotable. But again, all gets decided in the octagon. And in the octagon, Duplessis took Adesanya's back. DDP became the first fighter to submit Adesanya. As one of the biggest UFC superstars, faded down into the sunset. The UFC's golden boy, the most bankable middleweight, is now gone. And in the press conference, struggling to keep it together.
I thought that Israel looked incredible. Dricus is so awkward and unorthodox, fights like a white guy dances.
But oh well, all that was in the past. It's time to move forward. And what was coming up forward, what they had promoted as the biggest event in sports and entertainment in history of sports. It would all take place in Las Vegas' newest venue, the Sphere. The best sporting events. They even said it was gonna be way better than UFC 300. And then they announced the card.
Alexa Grasso is taking on Valentina Shevchenko. Daniel Zellhuber, Yasmin Howergy. I will see you there.
What? The spectacle was supposed to be the Sphere itself. The venue was supposed to sell the pay-per-view. And while I don't ever deny that a venue might help in some pay-per-view buys, you're not going to get a massive pay-per-view attendance just because it's taking place in the Sphere. But hey, at least they had a main event. One of their youngest stars. Next big thing, the guy that's been rising up and selling out arenas was in the main event. Sugar Sean O'Malley. And his opponent, Merab.
The only reason anyone knows Merab's name is because I handed him my jacket.
This jacket looks good on me. It doesn't look good on O'Malley.
And this was pretty much the only fight that deserved to be in such a big card. So it's pretty obvious who the company wanted to win. Once again, in this case, just like in the other cases, the only reason why he got the title shot is because all other opinions have been exhausted. Merab, while relentless, he had been hurt before. He had been submitted, he had been knocked out. O'Malley, on the other hand, a sniper, charisma, the hardest hitter at 135. The event needed a highlight reel knockout that the UFC could replay in promotional videos forever. But one takedown, that was all you needed to see. Merab put him in a guillotine choke and started kissing his neck.
I control this fight, I break you, That's why I was kissing.
That's the image you got. Another 5-round domination and an easy decision. And Sean O'Malley had no idea what to do. Dana White had just seen another one of his stars collapse. He was heartbroken.
I think that he's one of those kids that lives for moments like this. I mean, this is what he's all about. He's that guy. I think that I don't know if he just got in there tonight and fell flat. Some nights it's just is what it is.
The UFC lost Conor McGregor, lost their youngest star, lost the UK market. And now, will they lose their best heavyweight of all time in Jon Jones? I guess time will see. But with the UFC's luck this year, I'm not sold on it. We might end up with a Stipe Miocic that can't speak properly in the press conference.
A lot of punch by that witness.
But like I said earlier, this was totally avoidable. If you promote stars so they can make you money constantly, then you can make sure that your champions are marketable. Ironically enough, they have merged with a company focused in sports and entertainment in the WWE, so they should know how to build stars constantly. And yes, you can make your arguments about professional wrestling as well and how they haven't really built any other big stars other than Roman Reigns. But also, the second tier under Roman is pretty packed with people that can sell out arenas themselves. But at the end of the day, the UFC's product doesn't matter as much as you think to them, because really, they will forever be the MMA king. Watch this video right here so you can see the UFC doesn't really need stars to keep its business going. And I'll see you in that video. See ya!
Yeah, it's all on the coat.
ballin' now, skirt down. All of these diamonds sold. Bought them for me, but they're yours now. You could drink it, but take it slow. Ballin' for you, fallin'